So I'm also involved with this project. As Eva mentioned, my name is Angelika Krastina, and to my Latvian counterparts, it sounds very Latvian, I suppose, even though I'm representing Lapland University of Applied Sciences in Finland. So I'm working there as a senior lecturer, and I'm not going to talk today about Latvia, but about Arctic. So my presentation is about a circular economy as a tool for sustainability, and the case is Europe Arctic. You might wonder what it has to do with it now in this event, and Arctic. What is it actually? What comes to your mind when you think about the Arctic? And I believe that first thing usually is the picture of a polar bear, right? So I will give you a little bit of the context regarding SICA project, and it has to do with the Arctic, you will see. I will give you also a bit of a context regarding why we talk about Arctic from the global perspective, and actually it's a very trendy topic if you didn't hear it so far about. Then, of course, circular economy and the principles is very complex subject in general, but we would like to just kind of highlight here that this is certainly the way towards sustainability. In the future, we really have to pay attention more to circular economy principles and implementation in the business world. And then some case studies or examples from Finnish Lapland, which is all about this Arctic cooperation and where we are at the moment regarding sustainability and circular business models. So, SICA project, Sustainable Entrepreneurship for Climate Action, that was presented today many times. Actually, the roots are in the Arctic. And how come? Why in the Arctic? First of all, the lead partner of this project is Lapland University of Applied Sciences, and we are located on the Arctic Circle. Secondly, the mission of our institution, of our university in Lapland is we are a regional developer, and we mean it. So our success and the quality of university is measured against the results in terms of regional development. And as we are located in the Arctic, it is all in the vision of our strategy. Oh, sorry. It is all in the vision of our strategy where Arctic is in the core. So all our doing is about this Arctic vitality. We are very proud about being on the Arctic, representing the Arctic. And all the strategic activities, education, research and development, everything is connected to this region, and we call it as an Arctic. So, the roots of the project, SICA project, and I have to say that this is very important. It has really a real story behind. It was 2015 when we were with this group of students invited to Paris to participate as a side event, COP21. Any idea what is a COP21? It's actually exactly the place where all the governments came together to commit to new sustainable development goals, the political level, policy level, and actual implementation level. And so, as a side event, there was an event called Arctic Council Model, and students from all over the world gathered together, including universities such as, high-ranked like Harvard University, Oxford University, and then there were also our Lappish students from Lapland University of Applied Sciences. Together we were brainstorming and networking about the future of sustainability. And everybody else was from United States, from New York, or from London in Europe, or from Berlin in Germany, but there were only us from our Arctic. But the thing is that what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic, and it has direct influence on the whole world. And our students, when we came back, they realized that we could do something about the Arctic ourselves. It's all in our hands. Why those Harvard students are like really the ones who decides for us. And so our Arctic students, Rovaniemi students, came together and said, we want to do something about it. We want to take actions, and we created the project called Sustainable Entrepreneurship for Climate Action. The SICA project roots are there, that is initiated by the students. So they said, we need to do something, and we started with the first steps. Why Arctic, and what is this global perspective? So what comes to your mind again? But actually, in the Arctic, even though it's so remote from Riga point of view, we are talking about large-scale industries. We are talking about great amount of natural resources located in the Arctic. We are talking about melting sea, and you can see that there is this the Economist publishing the article The Vanishing North, because as the Northern Sea route is opening, so that is also a great opportunity for the future, and of course there is great interest among the businesses and in general globally. So then there is, of course, we are talking that we are living in the Arctic construction era, and it is a shame if you don't know that, because everyone has an opportunity about, there is a statement that by 2035, there is growing energy demand by 37%, while 30% of different types of natural resources are actually located in the Arctic. And also here on this map, on the left-hand side, you can see there is the map of different kind of resources that we have in Finland, is in the northern part of Europe, or Europe Arctic. And it's not only about oil and gas, it's almost everything there. And so the Arctic has become politically an interesting area, and it is very kind of dynamic in terms of politics, economics, and also international cooperation. And that's very important to understand, because after all, there is governance established at the Arctic level. There is, from 1991, we have a Rovaniemi Declaration that we start with the protection of Arctic environment, and the sustainability topic is relevant already then. So we didn't come to this topic just now because this is trendy. We work for decades regarding sustainability, and we understand, as I said, what happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic. In 1993, after the collapse of Soviet Union, there was established Barents Euro-Arctic Council. Then there is the Arctic Council. There is the Arctic Economic Council. So many different kind of governing institutions are taking care of these subjects. And as I said, the big reason, of course, that there is very dynamic industry and economy in the Arctic, even though few people living there. Thank you. All this. And so, just often in my presentations, it's kind of an eye-opening information for people. But then when you are thinking, what is like really behind? But to give you the magnitude of whole thing, look at this picture. What's happening here on this picture? Actually, there is a big like transportation of a house. Entire house relocating from one place to another. And that is a reality that is happening now in the city called Kiruna in Sweden. What is happening? Because of this great natural resources, in this case iron ore mines in Kiruna in Sweden, they are relocating entire city, house by house, to another location nearby. And so that is really giving an idea what is happening in the Arctic and why it is so important for us to deal with these sustainability projects in the Arctic. All right, so Finnish Lapland is that also similarly to all these Arctic contexts as relevant, of course, and we don't have oil and gas in our region, like in Norway, for example, or in Russia, but we are having lots of mining, we are having lots of forestry, and by the way, did you know that in Lapland we have the biggest gold mine in whole Europe? So this is really serious, and this is taken seriously by these industries, and therefore circular economy principles are really very directly taken from, of course, directives by European Commission, as well as by the United Nations, and it is implemented in practice. And if you want to learn more about these practices, of course, one should visit in Lapland, in Finland, and maybe entire Arctic region of Europe to see the development of circular economy principles in our region. I don't want to stick to theory too much because there are so many other presentations, and I have them again. Eva will share this information. But when we are talking about circularity principles, the topic is very complex. It's not straightforward, and no one can explain it that in 20 minutes or in 5 minutes presentation. But what we are talking about is that there is an attempt to ensure that the life cycle of the products is extended, and of course that we are moving towards production consumption that is involving sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, and so on, recycling. But it's not only about the waste that we have to take into account. It is more about identifying inefficiencies in the economies, in the businesses, and to creating, through that, we are creating new business value. So that we have to keep in mind, it goes beyond production and waste, and it is targeted towards this business value creation. I don't want to talk whole thing, but just to say that this is now embedded in the practices of Finnish companies in the Arctic region in particular, as we are going to talk about Circular Economy Center, that is the leading center of entire circular economy in Finland, located in Kemi-Tornio region. That is also Lapland, where I'm coming from at the moment. And so the main aim is that the product should be used for as long as possible, and it must be serviced and repaired, on all the parts changed just when necessary. And hold the cycle, as you can see on this picture. Yeah, and I mentioned already, so we have to pay attention. We are talking about different models and principles and practices and methods to deal with inefficiencies. There are many good examples. Again, I'm not going to read those, but that is when we are working and when teaching with the students, and some, as it was mentioned by Agnes, I think, when we start teaching those startups, potential entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs about sustainability, we want them to have this philosophy in their mind, keeping right away, as they are building sustainable businesses, keep in mind circularity principles, keep in mind all these kind of, the entire framework or the philosophy about circularity. So that is kind of a starting point in the education, right? So, yeah, we are talking about supply chain, entire sharing platform approach, extending product life cycle, and recovering and recycling. And then this is an example. Eva was showing other examples of different tools, and this is just an example what kind of analytical approach they need to learn to building new startups and developing their businesses or redesigning business models. So every area of the business model is analyzed carefully and defined where is the inefficiency. So that is how we are developing and working on these business models. As you could see from Kristina's presentation, we had the challenge, only 4% of students had some idea about it. So this is where we are at the moment. So we need to develop these kind of new teaching methods to help to understand how to start, where to start if we want to be sustainable, if we want to apply circularity approach. A lot of information as a case study about Finnish Lapland, but I would like to highlight that we are in particular, we are building this kind of a smart specialization strategy and working around that. It means that we are talking about entire ecosystem and set of companies, organizations, or every stakeholder in the region. We are part of this Arctic Circular Economy cluster. It is an everyday work. It is a kind of embedded habit in the practices, in doings, starting from education institutions and ending with these large industries. As Outokumpu, the biggest stainless steel producer in, or one of the biggest in Europe, they suggest that 90% of their stainless steel is all the recycled material. Somebody said even 100%, but yeah, the numbers can change. So we are talking about entire ecosystem with all the participants developing this mindset, and this is not some kind of straightforward work. This is a lot of events, different kind of trainings, companies collaborating, sharing energy, sharing resources, sharing knowledge. This collaboration becomes a tool for everything. All right, so if you want to learn more, there is certainly to learn more about, but that is also embedded all in our education system. So we, in every part of our training, digital solutions, new industries, smart built environments, future bioeconomy, and so on. We have a lot of, everywhere it is connected with circular economy principles. And we have plenty of research and development projects. I don't want to talk about all of these, but that is also an ongoing process. That research and development, EU-funded projects, Horizon projects, Erasmus projects, and this is also a core activity of our research and development for circular economy. Here are just a few examples. So it's an ongoing process, and I'm welcoming everyone to join to these kind of activities, because we have a lot to do. According to recent Circularity Gap report in 2022, released, I think it was in December, it says that more than 91% of what we take from the earth is wasted, and only 8.6 is circular. So a lot of work for us ahead. Thank you very much. So we will do these kind of innovative solutions, value creation, development further altogether, for us to remember that one drop can make, or a million drops make an ocean. Thank you very much.